Hello everyone. Today we're going to learn about the elicitation techniques that we business analysts use to elicit the requirement. There are multiple techniques that we have, but you can choose as per your need and kind of stakeholders or organization or project that you have. So there are a list of techniques, but you can choose accordingly. So let's begin. So the first one is an interview. So interview involves a direct conversation with the stakeholders to gather in-depth information about their requirement, preference, and concerns. Structured and open-ended questions are used to extract detailed response. So whenever you're going for a interview as a technique to elicit the requirement, you need to understand your stakeholder, your project, and what kind of questions you need to ask in an interview to elicit the requirements. You need to keep in mind that the stakeholders are busy in their day-to-day activities. So you need to keep it very firm, you need to keep it very concise, and you need to ask all the right questions. You need to prepare all your questions before going for one-on-one interview with the stakeholders. The great example of is in a software development project, a business analyst conduct interviews with end users, managers, and IT teams. They ask questions about desired features, usability, preferences, and potential challenges, gathering insight for software requirements. So you can go for an interview with IT teams or customers or end users or managers. You can ask specific questions about the software, what kind of features they want in a software. So you can ask some specific questions within one-on-one interview with the stakeholders or end users or managers. Second example is survey and questionnaires. Survey and questionnaires are distributed to a wide audience. They collect standardized response to a specific questions, allowing analysts to analyze the patterns, trends, and stakeholders' opinions and preferences. So you prepare a questionnaire or survey. Okay, you send it across to all the related audience. You collect their response, you create metrics, you see the responses, what kind of responses they have, what kind of yes or no answers they have. You understand the patterns, you understand the kind of requirements they want. Okay, and you get that requirement, you finalize those requirement. So great example of that, a business analyst sends out a survey to a customers of an e-commerce platform. The survey asks about their satisfaction with the current features, any difficulties faced during purchases processes, suggestions and improvements, providing valuable feedback for the system enhancement. So you might have seen in whether e-commerce platforms, sometimes you get survey regarding how was your experience when it comes to the selecting the product, keeping it in cart, while processing the payment, how smooth the payment was. So such kind of surveys, or they ask to get the feedback. If there are any bottlenecks, they try to address those issues. The third one is workshop. So workshop, what happens in a workshop, it brings diverse stakeholders and facilitate interactive sessions with them. Okay, they encourage brainstorming, group discussions, and activities to collaboratively explore and define requirements. So if you think about the workshop, it happens at the beginning. Mostly I've seen it happens at the beginning, or if we have some big problem or some requirements they need to finalize. So a lot of high managers and stakeholders come together, they discuss about the problem, different opinions are taken into consideration, and then they make a decision about particular problem or particular requirement, how the system will act, how the system will behave. So they come together, they brainstorm about the problem, or they brainstorm about different ideas, they give suggestions, and then one final solution would be as a decision will be taken further. So example, in a business process improvement project, a workshop is conducted with employees from different departments through a group of discussion and process mapping activities, stakeholder identify bottlenecks, inefficiencies, and improvement opportunities, leading to a refined business requirement. So you can bring a different kind of people, different kind of employees from a department to discuss the problem, because each and everyone will see the problem or the product in a different way. So you need to bring a lot of different stakeholders together, understand what the difficulties or what kind of suggestions they have when it comes to a new product that you are building or any enhancement that you are doing. The fourth one is brainstorming. Brainstorming sessions promote creativity and ideas generation among stakeholders. Participants freely share thoughts and suggestions, fostering creative environment and identify innovative solutions and requirements. So what happens if you got a specific problem or specific requirement? You bring a lot of people together, not a lot of all the stakeholders together. Everybody speaks their mind, whatever ideas they have. It would not happen that any idea or suggestion would be considered less or more. Every idea, every thought is collected, noted down, and then the best solution is taken up. For example, for this one, a business analyst facilitate a brainstorming session with the marketing team to generate ideas for a new advertising campaign. Team members suggest various themes, channels, promoting activities, providing inputs for marketing strategy and requirement. So in the current example, if you have a product where you want to advertise in the market, you'll bring different people together. You listen to their ideas, what kind of themes, channels you will have, what kind of celebrity if you want to have, what kind of celebrity you want to have, what kind of theme you would have, how you will progress with your advertising campaign. So different people come together, they give their suggestions, and best solution is taken forward. Use case and scenarios. Well, use case and scenarios are detailed narratives describing how user interacts with the system. They provide a context-rich understanding of a system functionality and user interaction, aiding in requirement identification. So what happens if you have a certain process, you list down all the activities. What happens once the activity starts, how it ends, how many decisions are made, what are the recurring steps, okay, what are the redundant steps. All these things are narrated in a use cases and scenarios, and how the system behaves, how user behaves, what are the different users on the system. All these details are listed down, and it helps in identifying the requirement. So example for this, for a mobile banking app, a use case scenario outline how user transfer funds between accounts. It includes steps like login, selecting account, entering amount, and confirming the transaction, detailing the functional requirements for the app transaction features. So in a current example, as you can see that once you have listed down all the use cases, scenarios, you'll have all the functional as well as non-functional requirements. You can detail those requirements down in functional as well as non-functional requirements. So it always helps to draw a use case where you will have different users, how they communicate with the system, what are the outcomes, what are the steps that you can identify with the help of use case scenarios. Observations. It's a very passive method. Observation involves directly observing the stakeholders in their work environment. Analysts watch and document how users perform the task, allowing them to understand the process, challenges, and requirement organically. So what happens? Business analysts will sit down with the stakeholders or a user who performing the activities. He will simply observe what kind of steps he is taking, how he is processing the data, what are the inputs, what are the outputs. So he will understand all those things. He will list it down everything, okay. And this is a very passive method. I mean, you don't ask much questions, you just simply observe the stakeholders, how he's performing the tasks. So example, in a healthcare setting, A business analyst observe nurses using the existing patient record system. By watching their interaction, the analyst identify usability issues, workflows, bottlenecks, which inform requirement for a new user-friendly system. So user will sit down, he will understand what are the bottlenecks, what are the redundancy, what are the repeated tasks that are being performed, where where the process is taking a lot of time. So he will understand all those things, he will understand all the bottlenecks, and he will try to come up with the requirement which will help to enhance the system and which will help to ease down the any kind of redundant task or repeatable task that users are doing. So it helps in enhancement of the system. Prototyping. Well, prototyping involves creating interactive models of a system. Stakeholder interacts with these prototypes, providing feedback on design and functionality, which helps in refining and detailing the requirement. So what happens, a development team create a very lightweight prototype of a working software. This with the initial requirement, such prototypes are prepared, and then these prototypes are taken with the stakeholder understand how the prototype is working. If there are any gaps, he will let the business analyst and developers know that these are the missing steps, these are the missing buttons, how you align the system, how it can be more efficient. So the lightweight prototype is presented to the stakeholders, then stakeholders observe and give the feedback, and then the requirements are finalized. Example of it, a software development team builds a prototype of a mobile app. User interface beta tester interacts with the prototype, suggests changes such as rearranging the button for better accessibility, which leads to UI design requirements. Document analysis. Document analysis involves reviewing existing documents such as manual and reports. Analyze, extract relevant information about the process, rules, and requirements, providing valuable insights for the project. So what business analyst does in the existing process, he will go and review all the documents. He will understand what are the process, what are the rules and requirements, and then he will create a requirement document. A business analyst studies the company's policy document to understand the compliance requirement for a new HR software. By analyzing these documents, the analyst identifies specific data security and reporting requirement for the system. Focus group. Well, a focus group are the individual with a specific department that you can say. So focus group are a guided discussion with a small group of representative stakeholders. Facilitator use specific topics to encourage participation, to express opinion, concerns, and ideas, aiding in requirement explorations. So you identify the identical stakeholders and you bring them to the session where you interact with them, they encourage their participation, get their opinions, concerns, and ideas, and then you create a requirement document. So for example, a focus group discussion is conducted with a student to gather requirement for a new learning management system. Students share their preferences for intuitive interfaces and interactive learning features, shaping the user experience requirement of the platform. So what you will do, if you have a learning software or learning app, you'll ask students to come together, you will interact with them, how is their experience while using the learning software or app, what are the features they like, what they don't like, if they face any kind of problem, you understand all those things, and then you make a requirement document out of it. Joint application development session. JAT sessions are intensive workshop with stakeholders and development teams. They focus on defining the requirements, collaboratively resolving issues in real time, and ensuring a shared understanding of the project goals. So JAT sessions are very intense, or these are very oriented sessions where stakeholders and development team, customers, everybody is involved together. They provide the requirement, the development is done. Once the development is done, they will give the feedback about it, and again they proceed further. So it's a very intense session where you have everybody involved in the project. A jazz session is organized for the software project. Developer, business analysts, and end users collaboratively discuss the system requirement. Thorough discussion and visualization. The team refines the requirement and align everybody's understanding of the project scope and functionalities. So it's a very intense and very oriented session where everybody is involved continuously. Questioning. Well, questioning involves asking stakeholder targeted questions to clarify ambiguous points and gather detailed information. Skilled questioning helps analysts uncover underlying requirements and nuances. So the questioning will help stakeholders if there are requirements and those requirements are not clear. As a business analyst, you need to ask some specific questions about the particular requirement so that those uncleared requirements are detailed. You get the detailed information about it, and you can finalize those requirements. So questioning involves asking very specific but very good questions so that those requirements, the ambiguities, any kind of nuances that you have, it should be cleared. A business analyst questions the product user about their preferences for a new mobile app notification system. By asking a specific question about the notification frequency and content, the analyst gathers the requirement for customization options and user preferences. So as I told earlier, if some requirements are not clear, in this case if notification requirements are not clear, so business analysts will ask specific questions about that specific requirements and try to clear the requirement, try to clear any cloud over it, try to understand the requirement. If there are any ambiguity, he will try to clear that one. So specific questions had to be asked, like what are the frequency of the notification, who will receive the notification, how the user will subscribe for the notification, how the notification will be sent, either on the message or on the email or on the software, the notification will be visible. So these are some specific questions about the notification that you're going to ask. The next one, storyboarding. Well, storyboarding is very interactive and visual representation of the processes. So storyboarding visually represents user interactions, experience. It uses sequences of images and diagrams to illustrate system behavior, helping stakeholders visualize and refine requirements related to user interfaces and experiences. So storyboarding is like you create a storyboard where you list down all the processes, what are the sequences, diagrams, system involves, how the data flows. All these things are defined on the storyboard. Stakeholder look at those storyboards and they come up with the requirements. It will give them a clear view of the processes being done, how the data flows. It gives all the illustration about the behavior, and that helps stakeholders to come up with the requirements. Example, in a website redesigning project, I saw a storyboard outlining the user's journey from landing on the home page to making the purchase through visual representation. Stakeholder identify required features like intuitive navigations, prominent call to action buttons. The next one is context diagram. So the context diagram visually depicts the system's boundaries and interaction with external entities. They help a stakeholder understand the system's context, enabling analysts to identify high-level requirements and interfaces. Example for that, in an online banking system, a context diagram shows the system interaction with the users, payment gateways, hotel database. Stakeholders use this diagram to identify requirements related to data exchange, protocols, secured interface, and with external devices. SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis assess the project's strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. It identifies internal and external factors influencing the project, leading to the requirement related to risk management and strategic planning. So SWOT analysis will analyze the project's strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. User business analysts create this diagram with this help of stakeholders. They will understand what are the weaknesses and opportunities they have, what are the threats. So those things are taken into consideration when they list down everything. Those will come as a requirement for the new software. A business analyst conducts a SWOT analysis for a retail business. The analysis revealed that the opportunity to expand online sales. This insight leads to requirement for an e-commerce platform, including secure payment gateways and inventory management and features. So if you have a e-commerce business, you can do the SWOT analysis. If you can find any opportunities outside, you can go ahead with that. It would be the requirement for you. How you want to do that, how you want to increase your sales, that would be the requirement. So SWOT analysis helps you to give the broader picture of internal as well as external strength or weakness or opportunities that you have. It will help you to draw a broader picture of your process or your requirement or your software. Role playing. Well, role playing exercise simulates real time scenarios. Stakeholder act out different roles, helping an analyst understand user behavior, system interaction, and requirement in diverse situations. So what happens in this? Stakeholder come together, and they will do the different role playings. So if I'm a stakeholder, I will act as an end user. I will give all my requirements. What are the situation I will face? What kind of features I want out of the system? So everybody plays a different role. They discuss about it. They discuss their problem, their requirements, what kind of features they want, and detailed requirement document is created out of it. Example for this one: in a healthcare software project, medical staff and administrators engage in a role playing. They simulate patient admissions, showcasing required features like electronic health records, accessibility, appointment scheduling, and billing requirements. Mind mapping. Mind mapping visually organizes the information into interconnected branches. It helps explore complex ideas, relationship, and requirements collaboratively. Mind mapping provides structured overview, aiding in detailed requirement analysis. So what you can do, you can create one. Suppose if you are creating a software for e-commerce, you can write an e-commerce. Now in the between, then you can create different branches of it. What it would require? It would require payment processing. It would require card. It would require different categorization of the products. It would require customer details. It would require photographs. It will require detail of the product. So all these things you can create a branches of it. It will help you to come up with the different requirements. It will help you to understand the overall need for the software. So mind mapping helps a lot. So example of it: a business analyst creates a mind map to outline the requirement for the customer relationship management system. Branches cover modules like customer profiles, sales tracking, and communication history. This visual representation helps stakeholder prioritize and expand on specific requirements. Well, that's it for today. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and like the video. Thank you.